So our next guest, I'm really excited about meeting Luigi Cani. For those of you who don't know, he is a professional parachutist and wingsuiter. So you know those crazy dudes that wingsuit and kind of skim a hair's breadth away from the mountain? That's what Luigi does. He's a 12-time world champion in all different kinds of flying. And if you've seen some of his films, it's absolutely extraordinary, really, really breathtaking. And we're going to explain his connection to forests, to trees, to preservation, to conservation. But first off, I want to get him on stage. Luigi, where are you? Here we go.
Thank you.
Hey. Thank you very much indeed for making it.
Thanks for having me.
And you've just arrived from Brazil, right?
I arrived this morning from Rio de Janeiro, yeah.
So we'll make the questions easy so that you don't kind of fall asleep halfway through it, because it's been a long journey. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
You didn't parachute in to the...
No, I came by normal. I took a cab.
A cab. So before we get into it, tell me about some of the places where you have flown.
All right, I'll tell you.
You know.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having me here.
And
like, helping the planet is not my everyday work.
Right.
Right. And I did this project that I'm going to show you guys because I have been to places in nature to do the filming, the flying, right? This is what I do in Brazil. I have been jumping for 25 years. I have done over 14,000 jumps, and all jumps are like experimental jumps. New places. In 2000, I was here landing the world's smallest parachute on top of Mont Blanc.
Right.
That was like 24 years ago. Yeah. So, I have been fortunate to interact with nature in ways that I could lose my life.
Right.
So you have to understand and be respectful, and then the connection that you get, it's very strong. After these many years, going from young to mature,
young mature,
I start to understand the importance to give back this amazing opportunity, and actually by using airplanes and helicopters we don't help at all.
Right. And it's very hard to be a parachutist if you don't.
Exactly. You can base jumping, that you can be very friendly with the mountain, things like that, but mostly my jumps are from helicopters and airplanes. So making the long story short, I came up with this idea. I'm from Brazil, so I went to the Amazon and I saw how beautiful it was, and I was like, wow, what if we drop some seeds, you know, from the sky? Would that work? And then I start to speak to people that they are knowledgeable about the subject, and professional people. And they said, yeah, it could work.
Yeah.
So I got into this project that I start to get permission from the Brazilian government to do this amazing drop. And I do everything for media in Brazil. We get a lot of television media and exposure in Brazil and through social media, and you know, all over the world as well.
Media environment there.
So I thought that would be a good message for people to get inspired. And during the process, what I would be learning, people that would be watching, which was like 50 million people in Brazil watched that show. It's prime time, only in Brazil.
Yeah.
All the people get a little bit of education, like I did, things that I didn't know before. How could I help? If I didn't know? So we got all the permits from the government. There was like 12. A lot of bureaucracy with the Brazilian Air Force, the FAA from Brazil. We need to customize the airplane to drop this box. Those boxes, they weigh 300 kilograms, and they would fall at speeds in between 220 and 300 kilometers per hour.
So you don't want it to land on someone's head?
No. The government gave us permission to do the drop in the middle of the Amazon. And I thought that was really cool at first. But then when I saw the location and we Google Map, I was like, wow, this is really in the middle of nowhere. how are we going to get access to that and bring the production people there and bring all the equipment, you know, and everything? It's going to be impossible. We tried really hard to do closer to the big city, Manaus, the capital. Couldn't do it. So I had to move 4 tons of equipment from Brazil, from Rio and São Paulo to Manaus, and then from Manaus by boat, 3 days on the boat to Little Rivers, to the area that was closer to where we have to go. And that area is still 80 miles away. So we have to fly from this little runway, dusty runway, on the middle of nowhere for 45 minutes just to access the devastated area. How about I show a little bit of video? There's a 3-minute video.
I'd like to see it.
We can show.
You guys want to see it? You want to see the video? Yeah? I think they want to see it.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
The mission is, can you pause the video real quick? The mission is to make prime time on Brazilian TV.
Can we pause?
He has to have a challenge.
Because he wants to, Luigi, just
can you freeze a little bit, the video?
Or if you go back to the top, when you can speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in order for people to see, you have to make extraordinary. So, like a James Bond movie, a mission that you might not be able to accomplish. So, am I going to be able to release those seeds at the right altitude, at that speed, dive after the box, and pull the handle and release the seeds? That was like the drama about doing this. And a lot of people ask, why don't you just drop from the airplane? Yeah, we can do that as well. But it would work just the same. But a fraction of people would be able to see it if you don't build up the story. So what we're watching now, we are accessing the area, which is right there.
That's the devastated area.
That's the devastated area.
Okay.
Those are the seeds that...
So if we can play it again. Yeah.
Those are the boxes. We have stunt boxes that we use what we call stunt seeds. They're like some form of rice and vermiculite that they simulate the weight and the size of the seeds. And we keep dropping those boxes, and I'm following those boxes to understand the fall rates, the upper winds, the downwinds, where we need to open the box in relation to the devastated area. Yeah. Because if you open straight above, the winds will take to the other direction. Yeah. So we need to be 2.5 kilometers off.
So hang on, but you're having to intercept the box.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have to open it.
Go by itself. I have to dive, grab the box, and I have to open precisely at 6,000 feet. Okay. 2.5 kilometers south of the area, so the upper winds will blow the seeds to where they need to go.
So I mean, but that is a crazy kind of feat of engineering, because you're dealing with the atmospheric conditions on the day, yes, and making sure that the seeds end up in the place that you want them.
The engineering for those boxes to fall at the right speed, and when you pull the handle, they would open and release the seeds, and then deploy automatic parachute, so the box would not just fall straight out.
Did you do a test run?
We did several test runs. Okay. We did several test runs in Rio de Janeiro before going there. Yeah. And I did 4 stunt box before the actual box. So when it came the time for me to jump with the box that actually had the seeds, that was like right after pandemic, so it was very hard to collect those seeds in a short time. Yeah. So those 100 million seeds, they're more precious than diamond for me at that time. Yeah. And then when I went to do the last box, the box ended up being heavier than the stunt box. Yeah. Because I didn't want to leave any seed out. Okay. And that put a stress on me that I never cried before, ever. Right. You know, I jump with the smallest parachute. I have set a world record for the fastest free fall speed at 552 kilometers per hour, wearing 60 pounds of weight vest, you know. What, to increase your acceleration? Straight down to increase the risks. And I can go on and on, and on proximity flying with the wingsuit. Yeah. I was pioneer of this, start doing it, testing, so. But this was the hardest thing? It was emotionally the hardest thing for me, because when it came down to actually jump with the seeds, the risk of me not grabbing the box and releasing on the right altitude. If it didn't do that, everything would be for nothing. And then I was crying like a baby before, really crying. Like I was so, the level of stress because of middle of nowhere, all the unexpected problems that we have to solve during the projects. You know? We are there for 15 days filming this in the Amazon, but pre-production took 1 year. It was 1 year preparing, and then 15 days doing it to drop like $5.
And what, remind us, what year did you do this? When was it executed?
2002.
And have you been...
January 2002.
And have you been back to the site?
Well,
what do the scientists say? Has it had an impact?
Yeah, we have big sponsors on this. Like Audi is one of the sponsors. BTG, the Brazilian, one of the biggest investor bank in Brazil. So they are monitoring from satellites. And we did on the summer season when rains a lot. It's the raining season. We did everything by the book because we have to follow the rules from the government, the permits, everything, the location. We find to get a different location. When I got there, the forest engineer, the first thing, when we land the helicopter there the first time, he said, you have to put people to monitor here because they're here. You see that, he knew. I said, well, we don't have the budget for this. So the government sent us here to do this. The government work with us to select the seeds, the proper seeds, everything. They are part of this. I mean, they know much better than me, you know, what you're doing. And said, well, you need to do the monitoring. So long story short again, after 1 year, not quite 1 year, 8 months maybe, it was getting greener, the area, and now 2 years later, it's 3 times worse. So someone asked me here, how big was the area? I would say, okay, I would say about 40, 50 football fields, and now it's 3 times more. So people say, you fail, right? Yes, I did, but I didn't quit yet. I learned. I use resource to learn. I use resource to get a lot of people in Brazil to be at similar level of understanding that I am right now about this subject. And we're going to do it again. And everything we learn from this.
So what will you do? What will you do differently? Is it really about securing the area so that it is?
Yes. What we are going to do? Well, a lot of people ask, why don't you just throw out of the, you know, those flying seeds, those winged seeds that they call, that they, if they touch the dirt, and they, if you have sun and rain and dirt, they're the kind of seeds that they will generate a tree. So for the next, we will work with private land. This is the government. So the people that are taking the wood there, they are using for cow farm there, they're making way more money that we have to take care of the location. The government is not doing a great job.
And this connects with the point that so many speakers have made when we talk about conservation or preservation or investment in the environment. It has to make sense for local communities, and if there is no reason for them to look after, value, invest in our precious earth, then the pressures of everyday life mean that oftentimes the environment continues to be eroded.
Well, me and the people that work on this project with me, it was about 40 people. We know what we went through. Because out there was like a mission to coordinate everything and take everything there and make everything work on the middle of nowhere. So now we are working in a different area,
Where also in Manaus?
No, in Manaus.
Okay.
Mato Grosso, it's a private area.
Yep.
So we're going to prepare the land before we do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it in 3 ways. We're going to plant the trees. So plant...
The same method?
No, different method. Just normal method.
Okay.
We go there, right? We don't know how many, but let's say a number here. We're going to plant 10,000 trees.
Yeah.
Planting. And then we're going to do the seeding from a military airplane with the ramp, low altitude.
Yeah.
We do that too. And then we do the James Bond style with the bigger box, falling faster, releasing,
You're going to make another film.
All in the same area.
Okay.
And then we will have the proper taking care, people taking care of the area because it's private and you're doing in a partnership. So it's not like the first stage of the project. You know, it's the first stage and then the follow-up stage. Because in the middle of the Amazon, we don't have a resource to be there controlling, you know.
So listen, the time has flown. And I can see the clock, 35
right there,
seconds. I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What did this teach you?
Then I need to do more. And I hope that people that see those projects on media, they understand that they need to do more too.
We all need to do more, right?
Yes.
Luigi Cani, thank you so very much indeed for sharing your story. Wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Cheers, bro.